Welcome back to the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show with the Walker Valley head football coach, Drew Akins. I'm Andy Morris, and of course, we are presented by Wright Brothers Construction. Thank you, Wright Brothers, for all your support of Walker Valley football and this production. Coach, obviously, hard to believe we're already in week 3, going into region ball games now, facing McMinn this week here at home. Of course, we're going to dive into that a little bit later in the show. But first, let's go ahead and start off. Last week, unfortunately, took a tough loss to a crosstown opponent in Bradley. 28-14 was the final score there. But I want to highlight some guys that I know you guys feel like had a great week as you've named these guys as your players of the week. But on the offense, let's start with that. Chase Stevens, who was 19-29 with 305 yards passing and a touchdown.
Yeah, I thought Chase played a really good game. When you look at some of the things that happened throughout the game where he was put in some tough spots, and for him to continue to press forward and play the way he did was really impressive. I think he garnered a lot of respect from people that were at that game watching it. The toughness that he showed, because he took a lot of hits throughout that game. A.J. Westfield is a great player, and as a coach and as the offensive line coach, and as somebody that really prides himself in protection. I was really disappointed in myself on Friday with our protection plan. I knew A.J. was a great player. We expected him to be a great player. But we didn't change some of the little things that we could have changed to make it a little easier on our guys up front. Our guys played as hard as they could. It was not an effort issue. It was a scheme issue, and that's on me. But, man, Chase, for him to do the things he did and continue to get up, find ways to get to the balls to the ball to our playmakers. We got some clips once we get into our film study that some of the throws he made were really special. But more than just the throws, it was just his demeanor throughout the night, his leadership throughout the night, and his toughness throughout the night. That's what kind of stuck with me, and the reason for me why he earned Player of the Week is because of those things. But when you have, a 300-yard night, it's pretty special. So was really proud of him and the way he played throughout the evening. He really gave us a chance to stay in the game. By the way he kept playing and kept getting the ball to our guys' hands. So really proud of Chase. I think the sky's the limit for that kid. We got to do a better job as coaches with protection plans, but ultimately, if we keep putting the ball in Chase's hands and he keeps, distributing the ball to Roman and Luke Hayden and Sawyer Boyd, like those guys make it where we could have a really special offense.
And Chase has such a big arm that the possibilities with him with the downfield threat, I look forward to seeing how the offense continues to grow and change throughout the course of the season. And before we move on to our defensive player of the week, Coach, you mentioned just kind of up front some things. What are some things that your offensive line learned this past week?
I think, first of all, we've got to do a better job of putting our guys in great situations to be successful. We're very quick up front. I think our athleticism up front is really good for an offensive line. But we don't have the size that we've had in the past. We've had some really big linemen here, especially the last couple of years with the Kelly boys, with Townsend, with Farley. Like, we've had some very large offensive linemen.
Some guys that'll shut down the buffet.
That have played. They're getting their money's worth. But,
that's right.
And those guys were great players. These guys are great players as well. They're just built different. They're not built the same. So we got to use our athleticism a little more. I think, again, I thought they fought. I think they absolutely gave everything they had. We just didn't put them in great situations to be successful. I really like our interior offensive line. I think that's where we could build around those guys and make it easier on our tackles to have a little more success with the way that we use our guards to help those guys. Cole Brown has had a great couple weeks that we're really excited about what he's been able to do. Reese Davis is a really good tight end that I feel like we're underutilizing in the pass protection. So building pass protection with different ways to get more people involved to help our tackles out with the speed rushers or with size like AJ had. Those things will make us better. So we've got to continue to develop the way we pass protect. But our talent is there. We've just got to do a better job up front as a coaches making sure that we have a good plan.
Well, just from my viewpoint in the box, announcing the game on Cleveland's Oldies 99-1, I kind of feel like in the second half of that game last week against Bradley, you saw a transition on that offensive line where they started to pick up on some things that they weren't necessarily doing so in the first half.
Yeah, I think as you go through a game, you play against certain guys that you start to figure out, okay, this is what I got to do to survive. And
especially against a guy like AJ Westfield.
I mean, he's just such a special talent that he makes it difficult. And, I think we could have slid to him more often. I think if I could go back and redo things, you got a couple answers. You could go chip. You could always slide to him, which puts a guard and a tackle on him. Some little things like that. But ultimately, I think, you asked what did we learn? We learned that our guys are going to continue to fight no matter what, and that they got a quarterback that they believe in. I mean, I think you saw throughout the night, like our guys believe in Chase and believe in his talent and his ability to throw the football down the field. And when you believe in each other and you fight for each other, you tend to have a lot of success.
So now, Coach, going over to the defensive side of the ball, the Defensive Player of the Week, Tyler Goldman, had 10 tackles. Talk a little bit about Tyler's performance, a guy who we've seen over the past couple of years log some consistent starting time on the defensive at linebacker on defense.
Yeah, Tyler's an outstanding player. We fully expected him to be this kind of player and for him to show up and do it in one of the biggest games of the year with a rivalry. He did a great job. And again, you talk about toughness of our guys. He came out down on the goal line. His finger was sideways. His pinky was quite legitimately turned sideways and popped it back in, and he got 2 goal line tackles. So just watching him do those kind of things.
Just being tough, man.
Yeah, I really was proud of our guys, and I think the 2 players of the week are the guys that really showed that kind of toughness, that continuously making tackles, continuously around the football, continuously getting up when they get knocked down. Like, those things matter. So I think toughness is something we've been talking about pretty consistently, and I think those 2 guys showed it in spades. Tyler's an outstanding player. We're going to count on him to make those kind of plays. He's got to be that guy all the time, and he's made it to where we can really trust that he's going to be that guy. So really, really am proud of Tyler and excited to see what the rest of the season holds.
And, Coach, also your special teams player of the week, Miles Hawk, who had 2 tackles on kick coverage, not to mention had a pretty solid game on defense as well.
Yeah, we're kind of creating a theme here, and I didn't even realize it. Miles' shoulder, he hurt his shoulder about halfway through the game on a kickoff that he won. He had 2 tackles on kickoffs. Or 2 kickoffs, he made both tackles. On the second one, he hurt his shoulder pretty good. And again, just figured it out, came back in the game, played the rest of the game with that. So just to watch his toughness throughout the night, and undersized defensive kid that just fights. He's just a fighter. He finds the way to find the football and be around the football. And Miles is a great kid, and he's exactly what you want out of a defensive player, that relentless effort that he brings. So kind of a theme in our player of the week of guys that fought through a lot of adversity and showed a lot of toughness. So it's one of our core values. It's one of our culture words. So to be able to display that in a tough game, those 3 guys kind of stepped up and showed what toughness is all about.
So, Coach, now as we kind of put an end to the Bradley game and move forward to McMinn, just some takeaways from last week against Bradley. First of all, I want to thank all the fans that came out, and I know you do as well. Probably the biggest crowd in the history of the MAC that I've ever been around for. The turnout was phenomenal. I know the players appreciated it, and you guys appreciated that.
Yeah, it was an outstanding night. I told some people over the weekend, and it's not all about the wins and losses. You want to win the game, absolutely. The perfect ending to that kind of night would be us being able to find a way to pull that one out. But just to see our community and our culture and our program and our school on display the way it was, it was a pretty special night, and to be able to welcome Charleston alumni back in, be able to recognize our softball state championship at halftime, the bands both playing at halftime, being able to recognize the ATS The Bridge and everything they do for our community and for our schools and for our students. It was a really cool night, and I thought it was really well organized. I think we have gotten really efficient with the way we run Friday nights. It takes a lot of people to do that, but for us to be able to put that on display was really cool, and for the amount of fans to be there, it was a really special night. And win or lose, I still think it showed what this community, what it means in this community to be part of the Walker Valley family and part of this Bradley County Schools family, because ultimately, we're one system, and it was a really special night for Bradley County Schools altogether. When you talk about takeaways to go back to McMinn as we move forward to McMinn, I think the number one takeaway is, it was 28-0 at one point. And it was pretty dire. And a lot of times when you get to that point, 28-0, it starts feeling like, okay, tonight's not going to be our night. So, let's find a way out of here. And sometimes 28-0 turns into 42-0, and it turns into a late turnover and a late score against, the young guys get one in, and it turns into a running clock, kind of embarrassing type night. And we were right there on the brink of that. And what I saw in that moment was our guys pull together and start fighting for each other even more. They were fighting for each other the whole time, but they did it even more when it got hardest. And we talked about it on Friday night, it doesn't impact playoffs. It doesn't impact anything. But I do think the game had an impact. And I do ultimately think it was a positive impact. Because if we would have broke apart like so many teams do at that moment, then I think we would have questioned ourselves in the good times for the rest of the year. Hey, it's when it's good, everything's great and we're all together. But when it gets difficult, will we stay together? And I think we've proven now that even through hard times, even through adversity, that we're going to stick together and we're going to make sure that we're fighting for each other no matter what. And that's, a core value in our program. We talk a lot about adversity and how you handle adversity, because life is going to throw you adversity, whether you ask for it or not. So to watch our guys in what was the most adverse situation we've been in as a team, for them to pull together and fight for each other was pretty cool to see. So I hope we take that forward, and that we trust each other, and that we know that even in hard times we're going to fight for each other, because that makes you play even harder for each other. So really excited about our guys doing that, and what that means for our program moving forward.
So, Coach, talking about moving forward, let's go ahead and transition into the McMinn week. McMinn game this Friday here at the MAC. Second home game in a row early this season. Excited to be back home. Always a great atmosphere, as Coach just talked about. But, Coach, we know McMinn is a solid team coming in. We're battle-tested last week against Cleveland. Had a big win in week 1 over Bradley. Yeah. What are your evaluations of McMinn up to this point?
Yeah, really physical team. Their front is as physical a front on both sides of the ball. When you look at their line of scrimmage, they pride themselves in physicality of lining up and putting their hand in the grass and kind of running through you on both sides. Offensive line-wise, they're led by number 77, the go-forth kid. He is West Virginia commit.
Correct. Big body
kid. He's a road grader up front. They kind of do everything with the mindset that he's going to kind of lead them. They all kind of have his personality too, where they're just going to play through to the whistle. They're absolutely, and if you let them get you on skates, they're going to make sure that they run those skates all the way until you're in the ground. So we've got to be willing to go to that fight. We got to run to that fight up front on D-line. Their defense line is just as, for me, just as talented. Number 99, number 6 on the interior, outstanding players. Really like both of them on the inside. I think their edge guys are solid players, but they're led by their line of scrimmage, no doubt. So we've got to make sure that we're ready for a physical game, that we're ready to take a punch in the mouth and punch back. And if we're willing to do that, then I think you could look up and see a really competitive game. If you just allow them to steamroll you early on, then I think it becomes a really difficult night. So that's something we're talking about in practice pretty consistently, that we've got to be ready to fight that kind of game, and I expect our players to go do that.
Coach, one thing I want to throw out there for all of our viewers and listeners is that every Tuesday you'll be on live with us on The Drive, ESPN Cleveland 101.3, around 5:40, so be sure to tune into that with Coach Akins. And, of course, this Friday, the game with McMinn Region game will be on Cleveland's Oldies 99.1. Even though Jacob didn't feel like he needed to show up today, he's going to be on air with me Friday. Excited to cover all things Walker Valley football. Starting at around 6:30, we'll have pregame kickoff coverage and interviews with Coach Akins and the panel as well. Real quick, though, I want to throw this out there before we go to break. We've got a QR code that we're going to throw up on the screen here momentarily, but you can now buy tickets on GoFan. Just scan that QR code and you can get your tickets to Friday's game here at the MAC. You can also pick them up at Monogram Market, Gobbles Automotive, Town Squire, and am I missing anywhere, Coach?
Those are three. And
here at Walker Valley.
Yep, main office here at Walker Valley. Man, this is a big time thing for us. We've got to. This allows us to be able to get fans in quicker. Obviously, if we can just show that you have purchased a ticket already, that makes life a little bit easier. You don't have to wait in line at the ticket booth. You're able to just purchase that online and be able to walk up to one of our gates and show purchase ticket and get in a little bit quicker. So really thankful for our administration for making this happen so quick. And excited to host another big crowd here on Friday.
Yeah, and shout out to Mr. Ethan Evers and his production team here at Walker Valley High School for getting that awesome graphic up. And this whole set, this whole thing that they do for us every week is a big deal, and we appreciate it. So with that, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, our favorite segment, the film study from last week's game. Welcome back to the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show with the Walker Valley head football coach, Drew Akins. I'm Andy Morris. Of course, we're presented by Wright Brothers Construction. And, of course, it's our favorite time, film study time. And, Coach, if you could, I know you've highlighted a few plays from last week that you want to break down. If you're listening on the radio, you can check us out on YouTube and get the whole visual of film breakdown with Coach Akins.
Yeah, a tough night, obviously, but there were some really big highlights that I wanted to show some of our players off and some of our scheme off as we went in. So I think early on, obviously, it was a tough game. As you went through, the first quarter, we had obviously made some mistakes that cost us. But this is one of the big plays early. So we had just fumbled the kickoff return. At this point, it's already 14-0. We're nearing the end of the first quarter, and we're in kind of a dire moment right here. Again, we talked about these things that could have gotten out of hand really quick. This is the third down play. Our defense was put in a bad situation. They got the ball on the 24-yard line to open their drive. So for us to be able to shoot through this, Michael Wood makes a great play, brings some energy to us where we really needed some energy to get this stop on defense. But just the way Mike triggers on this play, he kind of recognized that they're trying to run a double pass here. Aiden Burns actually does a good job in the secondary seeing this and us being able to go get that tackled before they're able to get that double pass off. So really cool play by Mike. Was a big play in that moment to get us a stop. Some of our pass plays, again, that I was really happy with. This is one early on. This is one of our dagger concepts. So whenever you get a dagger concept, you get something in the flat, something going deep, and then a dig coming in, and you're trying to just read out of those three guys which one's open. So when you see this dagger concept, Chase notices really early that Luke is going to be clean on the vertical, that he runs past his guy, gets the ball out of his hands really quick, is able to hit Luke on a big play. From the drone shot, this is a really cool view of it. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit where you can really see right off the snap. Again, you see Luke kind of win that battle right off the snap, and Chase puts a really good ball out there. Luke's so tall at 6'5" that we always tell Chase, throw a head-high ball and let Luke go get it. So that was a really cool play. Opening the second half, they went out and scored, and we felt like we really needed to go. At this point, like it was time to go, make some plays and try to keep it respectable for us. So we took some chances in the second half. This is a glance and go. So we had hit this glance route a couple times. Roman had hit this where he just runs like a 7-yard glance, and we're trying to get a middle of the field throw. And we felt like if we went to the middle of the field, that they would jump it, and obviously they were able to jump it. It's hard to see the catch, but from this view, again, the timing, the protection held up, and Roman's able to go get that.
Just enough of a move to allow him to beat his defender.
Enough, yeah. We kind of got the DB's eyes in the backfield. Roman's so fast and changes direction so well that really felt good about making that play. I wanted to highlight this because I feel like Kason Cunningham has done such a great job throughout the season for us. He had 4 catches the other night for 40-plus yards. This was a big one. The timing of that, for him to find the blockers, get back inside. I really feel like he scored here, but ultimately, Kason's done a really good job throughout the night or throughout the season. Making plays for us. So that, just wanted to highlight Kason, his timing on this. But again, this was a great opportunity. Our offensive line does a great job. At that point, we're teaching Roshak, you got alley defender. Lassen's going to come out and get number 2. He probably sits right here. And then Dugan's trying to wrap and get whatever's left over. I thought we timed that up pretty good, and we're able to find a way. So that was a really good play. Got us inside the 1. We scored 2 plays later. And then Sawyer. I thought Sawyer had an outstanding fourth quarter. We did such a poor job early of getting him the football. But you see on this play, if we can put the football in his hands, he is incredibly dynamic with the ball in his hands. So close to breaking that. But we've got to find a way earlier in the game and more often throughout the game to get the ball in Sawyer's hands. This is something that we had drawn up throughout the week. And for some reason, we kind of shied away from it early on. We ran it twice in the fourth quarter and gained over 60 yards the 2 times we ran it. So, this is something, and it's very simple. All we're doing is faking a run with Kason, a soft sprint out across the ball screen essentially, and putting the ball in his hands where he's able to run with it after the catch. So that's something we've got to do moving forward a little bit more and be ready to get the ball. And then the last play here, again, trying to highlight our guys. I thought Roman had a really good night. I thought Sawyer had an outstanding fourth quarter. The only reason he didn't have more is because we didn't get the ball to him earlier. But here at the end, I thought Luke became a primary target for us throughout the night because of matchups. They were putting their third DB on him, so we wanted to attack with him. And he made a lot of big plays throughout the night, including this one. Great throw by Chase again, trying to put the ball head high, making sure that the ball's always head high for Luke. But if you get the ball head high for Luke, he does such a great job of tracking the ball. And he's such a big body that he's able to go through and make a play there on the football. So really excited for Luke, really excited about where we're headed as a team when it comes to our passing game. But ultimately, I think a lot of good is going to come out of Friday night, and I hope we can transition that into region play this week.
Yeah, once again, region play starting this Friday night at home against the McMinn County Cherokees. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. You'll be able to catch complete game coverage of Walker Valley football pregame, kickoff, and everything on Cleveland's Oldies 99.1 with Jacob Mason and myself. That starts again around 6 o'clock with the panel and 6:30 with Coach Aiken's interview, and then 7 o'clock kickoff, of course. So with that, we'll throw that QR code up there one more time. You can now purchase tickets on GoFan. You can pick them up here at the office at Walker Valley High School, along with the Monogram Market, Gobbles Automotive, and the Town Squire. Yeah. So come out, support the Mustangs.
Yeah, the only other thing that I did want to say, Friday night is a special night in our community. It's our annual Gold Night, where we recognize families that have battled with childhood cancer. So we are going to recognize those families. We're going to do a donation between the third and fourth quarter. All of those proceeds will go towards foundations of childhood cancer in our area. So please come out. Please stay until the third quarter. If you don't stay till the third quarter, then find a cheerleader or find a dancer and ask how to give a donation, because we're going to take all those donation funds and give it to one of those foundations. Obviously, this is something that we're going on 4 or 5 years doing. It's very close to my heart. It's something that is very important to me, to recognize these families and give these families an evening where they know they're seen. So excited for that, and we're going to wear our gold jerseys. You obviously got the memo already, so really excited about that in the pregame and then between the third and fourth quarter.
So if coming out to support the Mustangs in their first region game wasn't enough, come out and support pediatric cancer awareness, juvenile cancer awareness. Great thing that you guys are doing up here. And I know everyone that's involved in any aspect of the game on Friday night always looks forward to that night, because it's such an impactful night.
It is.
For Coach Aikens, I'm Andy Morris. Have a great time. Everybody come out, support your Mustangs. Go Mustangs.